Hey guys. Alright, check this out. I have made, once again, multiple videos since the last one I recorded and today. And once again, they were not really able to be edited and so on and so on and so forth. Excuse. So I said, heck it. And once again, I'm just recording straight onto YouTube. I am right now on the highway, on the road to Oklahoma City. My girlfriend got some tickets to go see a comedian today out in Oklahoma City. I'm afraid I don't recall the guy's name, but someone I've never heard of, but she has, and she absolutely loves hearing from him, or hearing him, whatever. And her son got her these tickets back on her birthday in November. So I'm joining along, and as I drive, I thought, why not? Let you guys get a little more acquainted with what's been going on over the past couple of months. I made a video, I remember, on Christmas Day, in fact, because of a particular, I don't know if you want to call it a diner or restaurant. It's themed like a diner, very 50s-ish themed. That's straight on Route 66, called Tally's. I'm not terribly sure how long Tally's has been on Route 66. I know that it wasn't around during the 50s because the guy who owns it, whose name is, ironically, Tally, is still alive. He's not old or anything like that. Excuse me. He's not like Angel Delgadillo, over in, Arizona or whatever, or New Mexico. I'm sorry, I forget which. He's not like that. He's not from the heyday and golden era of Route 66 by any means. But he has been, his restaurant has been on Route 66 for long enough for at least the people of Tulsa to know who he is, to respect him, and to really enjoy visiting his restaurant. His restaurant has become so popular that he's actually opened multiple locations. Only one, the original, is actually on Route 66. But the reason I recorded on Christmas Day was because this particular gentleman has a very special program that he runs, or that he has. On Christmas afternoon, he gives free Christmas meals to anyone and everyone who walks in his doors. Period. Free. It is designed, of course, for those that can't afford a meal, but it does not matter how rich or poor you come in, or that you are when you come in. It doesn't matter whether you can pay or not. If you do, great, not a problem. But if you don't, then again, not a problem. Merry Christmas. And my girlfriend had been invited by Tally. She was part of a group of people that were invited directly to come over Christmas morning for breakfast. Not necessarily on the house, but just to come in on Christmas. And she told me about it, and I said, heck yeah, we're going. If anything, I want to, of course, pay for my meal in an effort to support being able to offer free meals to other people. So I made a video. I took some footage of both outside and inside, discussing what was going on, why we were there, and unfortunately it never did make the cut. So I'm telling you about it now. So basically, if you do ever find yourself in Tulsa, I know, especially on Route 66. Stop by Tally's. Tell them that sometimes Rob sent you, and they'll go, who? But anyway, so I want to let you know about that. Let's see. I can't remember. I made another video at some point for some reason. I don't remember exactly what the point and purpose of that other video was, but I did. Oh well. Maybe I'll remember later on and come back and tell you. But either way, right now, that's where I'm headed out to. Everything is just peachy. Just peachy as far as the Sometimes Rob goes. I like how I talk about myself in the third person. I'm doing great. My girlfriend, actually not so much. I have to admit that. I had to take her to the ER not too long ago. She was in some considerable pain, and they discovered that she had a kidney stone. Well, actually, more appropriately, a kidney boulder. This thing was pretty large, so they had to actually run a couple of procedures on her to help get that taken care of. The most recent one was the ultrasonic waves, or whatever it is, the sound waves. You've probably heard of where they send sound waves into your kidney to bust up the stone. Well, they did that. They did that a couple of days ago, and I always thought, every time I heard that, I thought, hey, great, that sounds like an easy, non-invasive way to try to pulverize the thing, I hope, and get it to a point where it can go bye-bye. What I was not aware of, at least until now, was that apparently when that happens, it doesn't just pulverize the stone. And I feel kind of stupid for not realizing this. As she was recovering, they have to put her under, apparently you have to be put under general anesthetic for this. That was my first surprise. Like, you do? Oh, maybe this is a little more bombastic than I expected. So when she was recovering, the doctor came up to me where I was sitting in the little waiting area and told me everything went great, and that she's gonna feel like she got hit by a baseball bat a couple of times. Like, well, thanks for the heads up. So when they told me I could go back and go see her, I went back there. At the time, she said she felt fine. She felt, like she was all right, and I took her back to her parents' place, actually, where her mom and dad were going to help keep an eye on her, because I don't live in Tulsa where she does. I spent a little time with her while after the hospital visit, and it was soon after that she really felt sore. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey. So as a result, let this be a lesson to all of you. For those of you who have either yourselves never experienced such a procedure, or have not spoken or interacted directly with somebody who has shared the experience details with you, know that it's not as bad as just sticking a Bose speaker up to your side and cranking it up to 11, which is kind of what I thought it would be. No. Apparently, this is kind of painful. Like, I don't wish this upon anyone. But now she is not without a big old cup or glass or container of some sort of drink of any kind. That was one thing the doctor did say. I don't know how likewise any other doctor who had performed it would say this, but this particular doctor, good guy, told me she needs to drink a lot of water. And I said, I asked him, so, well, what about, I heard that cranberry juice, I think, is supposed to help dissolve and break up a kidney stone. I had heard that whenever somebody has a kidney stone that they're over there downing cranberry juice in order to help dissolve it a little or break it up a little bit so that it'll reach a point where it'll actually leave the body properly. And the doctor said cranberry juice is primarily for infections, so that's not necessarily a bad thing in this particular case, but it's not any more helpful than, he goes, actually anything. Have her drink anything, everything. Doesn't matter. Drink it. Well, obviously, you meant within reason. Don't be drinking anything dangerous, but at the same time, drink. So she is always with a glass or a cup of whatever happens to tickle her fancy at the time, and is obviously, as a result, trying to rid herself of the kidney stone, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. Now, she's driving from Tulsa to Oklahoma City as we speak. Actually, she's not driving. Her son is driving. Her son, he's a grown man, and he's the one that bought the tickets for her, in fact, for her birthday. So he is, as I understand, repeatedly pulling over on the side of the road at a ye old pit stop for her to take care of matters, to help try to rid herself of the stone. But here in a little bit, in a few days, she's going to go back again for an x-ray to see how things are coming along. But in the meantime, drink up me Artie's Yo-Ho. That's what's going on as far as that goes. I'm trying to think, what else? I know there's been other stuff. Oh yes, there has been. This is not so happy tidings. I don't recall, I'm afraid. I don't recall if I told you folks before about last summer. If I have, I apologize for repeating myself, but in case I did not mention it before, I had two roommates where I was living, both of which were students over at the university, Oklahoma State University, which is in the same town that I live in, Stillwater. One of which, he's actually a foreign student from Kuwait. And it's kind of funny if you actually have a conversation with him, he sounds like he grew up in Texas, but he's actually only been in the U.S. for about 2 years. I guess whoever taught him English in Kuwait was from that area. I don't know. Either way, he had to go home back to Kuwait not too long ago because of a bit of a kerfuffle with his student paperwork and his visas and stuff like that. So rather than break the law, he did the right thing and went home for a couple of months. Came back when it was kosher for him to come back, and now he's back to school. The other roommate, however, was going to school around in the summertime, and one morning, while he was on his way to class, he was on his motorcycle and he was in a very unfortunate accident. He survived. However, he is currently in pretty bad shape. For a good long while there, he wasn't even conscious, but now he is. He had some significant brain swelling, which then required to remove part of his skull. Fortunately, he's not paralyzed. However, he's trying to recover to such a degree where his family has celebrated success when he was able to say a word or two. I visited him a couple of times in the hospital. I believe he's still there. He was not verbal with me whatsoever. But when I was talking to him, I asked him, hey, if you can make out what I'm saying, lift a finger. And he lifted 3. So, now, the thing was, he was moving at the time. Moving his hands, moving his head. So, one could legitimately argue that that was part of his movements that he was already doing, but based on timing and what I know of this guy, no, I believe he's still there. And plus his words and the way he was responding to some of his family since then, I believe he was there. But his girlfriend had been by his side the whole time. She was also a student, not at Oklahoma State University, but at a different school. A couple of weeks ago, unfortunately, she passed away. She was in an accident of her own. She was traveling on the highway. It was a 2-lane highway, 1 lane each direction. And for those of you who have never been outside of a busy metropolis type of environment, you may not have experienced rural highways of this fashion. But these highways, of course, like I said, they have 1 lane for each direction, total of 2. And as a result, you'll get traffic going the same direction you are that doesn't go as fast as you would like. Specifically, not as fast as maybe the speed limit, or if you want to go faster, they're not matching you. So these highways, they're not flat all the time. Some areas, of course, they are. Some of them are just flat straightaway, like in the desert. But in other areas, there are hills. Not big hills, but just little hills. So you can't always see past you. But the lanes do allow at certain intervals for you to pass around the car in front of you, to go around them. That's in case you have some sort of vehicle that's going extra slow for whatever reason. But the lanes are marked as such so that they tell you when it is safe for you to be able to go around if you need, or when it's not. Somebody decided to go around a big rig truck when it was not safe. And as a result, hit this young lady head on. She died a couple of days after her accident. From what I understand, she never regained consciousness. I met her a few times. Didn't really get to know her on any sort of close or personal level. Her name was Bethany. But she was a sweetheart, that I know. She was, pardon me. She was a stereotypical country girl. Tough as nails in both physical and mental attitude. She was not about to let life's downfalls keep her down. She was the type of she was the type of girl that in a country girl knows disappointment. A country girl knows a hurdle in the road, but knows that you're still not going to reach your final goal by just sitting there at the hurdle scratching your head or or screaming and crying and whining about the problem. Now, boy, I should have turned my speaker off before I recorded. Sorry about that, guys. She had all the faith in the world in our Lord and His love, His grace, and His power. She believed that despite everything that happened to my roommate, that the fact that he came out without any more injuries than he did, because he was riding on a motorcycle and he ran into a dump truck, the tail end of a dump truck at that, a dump truck that had failed to yield at a stop sign. But despite that accident, I mean, let's face it, under any other circumstances, he should have come out. He should never have come out. And the fact that he did come out alone in itself speaks to God's protective hand. And on top of all that, that he did not have the crushed pelvis that the doctors first feared he had. He did not have the spinal damage that the doctors feared he had. He is improving every day, like the doctors said that he probably wouldn't. She full-heartedly believed that was through the power of God. That's a country girl. A country girl is someone where they will show you all the hospitality you could possibly imagine and more. Someone who wishes that they had never met a stranger. I say wishes because up until very recent, most people from this part of the United States would tell you they've never met a stranger. Doesn't matter if this was the first time or the millionth time they met you. You were a welcome addition to whatever experience was going on. But anymore nowadays, well, I don't have to tell you about what's going on nowadays in the environment, just in the social environment. Not everyone is as receptive to such hospitality, let's put it that way. And I'll also tell you that a stereotypical country girl will not put up with injustice, I guess is the best way to put it. With someone being inappropriate, with someone being rude, someone being inhospitable. They will not stand for it. They do not have the snooty graces that normally are seen with people of high class and high society. Oh, no. They see something wrong, they'll tell you. Like, oh, hell no. we're not doing this kind of thing. And that she was just like it. If she saw someone being done wrong, didn't matter if it was her or somebody else, she stood up for him. She was a wonderful person. And on her Facebook page, a lot of people have come out posting on her page about how they're going to miss her. Every last one of them, you read their words and you can tell they're genuine. They're not just someone spitting out lip service. They genuinely mean what they're posting. She touched a lot of hearts. So, if you can, at your next opportune moment, raise a glass to Bethany. She deserves it. All right, folks. Well, today is Saturday, January the 18th, 2020. And I have just now reached the city of Edmond. Edmond is just immediately north of Oklahoma City. So, seeing as I've never been at this particular venue before, the Bricktown Comedy Club. Seeing as I've never been there before, I'm going to go ahead and end this video so I can bring up my Google Maps and tell me where I need to go from here, because I don't have very much longer before I reach a fork in the highway, and I'm not terribly sure which direction on this fork I need to take. So, alright folks, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your willingness to let me ramble on and talk about some of the different happenings going on in my life. I hope that everything's going well with you. I pray for prosperity, happiness, and all good things in your life. Most of all, I hope that when they do arrive in your life, that you remember that they did not come from your own power. They did not come from your own doing. That by you receiving them, you didn't get what you deserved. You were given them in spite of what you deserved. Everything we get good is always in spite of what we deserve, because frankly, none of us deserve all the great stuff. Success, it's been said by a very wise person that success is rented, not earned. Success is rented, and rent is due every day. So go out, earn rent, pay your rent, and be thankful that you were able to do it. All right, folks, be well.